So the title of our next talk is Attracting Top Tech Talent During a Period of Economic Uncertainty. And our speaker is Alexander Schlomber van Doren. He's the founder and managing director of Expertlead.
Okay, welcome everyone. Today, a quick masterclass on the topic how to attract top tech talents in a rather uncertain environment that we're having today. My name is Alex. I'm one of the founders of Expertlead, and at Expertlead we help companies to find, assess, and hire the right tech talents. So the big difference compared to other IT talent providers is that we put a lot of emphasis on the quality testing of our candidates. So basically every candidate we are supplying has been thoroughly vetted through technology that we built and through a freelance community that is testing those guys in a live peer-to-peer assessment. So basically in the last couple of years we placed thousands of top tech talents to different companies, and today we want to share some learnings, what works best. Before we do this, we need to set the scene a little bit. So we'll briefly discuss what the underlying problem is. We'll give you a perspective how this problem is now changing due to some market shifts. And then afterwards, we'll deep dive into how we can specifically adjust our recruiting strategies to really make sure we attract those top tech talents in the most efficient way. So let's start with the underlying problem. I think everyone has heard about the ongoing war for IT talents. There's no real definition, but I think this picture describes it pretty well. Recruiters are gearing up, highly motivated to find the right tech talents, but in the end, the battle is already lost before it started. There's just too big of an imbalance between supply and demand, too little tech talents on the market, too many companies in need of them, and it's super hard to actually place the right candidates where he belongs to. You can also put this war for IT talents into numbers and quantify it. If you just look into Germany, for instance, there are 100,000 unfilled IT positions. So companies invest a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of resources to fill those positions, but still they're open and they're not placed. On average in Germany, even if you place someone, it takes you half a year. To hire a software developer from day one until this guy is working takes 180 days on average. And lastly, the internal team who's doing this whole process spent on average 40 hours just to bring one guy on board. And think about how much opportunity costs arise from these 40 hours. And that's the problem. I think most of the guys here in the audience are familiar with this because, it's a digital fair and everyone's looking for the right tech talents, so you've experienced this. But there's some change to the situation happening if you just check what's currently happening in the market. So tech stocks are crashing. I think you've seen it in the last 6 months. Here, just a snapshot from the big tech giants. Valuations decreased by 40, 50, sometimes even 70%. And this market devaluation is in the end triggering a change in the venture capital system. So I'm also a founder. 2021 was a super nice year for founders. Capital was more or less a commodity, but that's changing now. Due to this tech devaluations, venture capitalists are getting much more serious, and they're not funding money whenever you want to do it. They're not only looking at growth, they're now changing and they're looking at cost efficiency. And that brings us to a situation where most of the big tech companies are laying off a lot of AAA candidates at the moment. Here's some selected headlines: Bird, Gorillas, Klarna, Zap, you name it. If you just read the news, you'll see one headline where one of the big tech giants is laying off people. And if you zoom out a little bit, on the right-hand side, at the moment, we are at the highest layoff situation compared to the last years. The only thing where it was higher was during COVID. And there's no end in sight. So the longer we wait, the less money will be in the market that is being provided from the venture capitalist, the more layoffs of top quality talents is happening. And then there's another change in the market situation, which is something called the Great Resignation. I'm also pretty sure most of you have heard it. What is the Great Resignation? Basically, people not being laid off, but people voluntarily thinking of quitting their job. So there was a nice study by McKinsey. They said 40% of employees are at least somewhat likely to quit their job in the next months. Yeah. And what is, in my opinion, super interesting, this great resignation, this voluntarily quitting the job, is not impacted by the economic downturn. So people quitting is still at record levels, even though so many companies are laying off people at scale at the moment. And that's the situation where we are. Yeah? So we have the ongoing war for IT talents. We have a lot of additional top talents on the market due to the layoffs. And we have a potential group of people who are always considering to change jobs. For founder, it's a super bad situation because it's hard to get cash. It's hard to keep your own employees. But for companies needing top tech talents, it's a huge opportunity. And now we want to deep dive into how to best capitalize this opportunity and how to fine-tune your own recruiting strategies to really get the biggest bang for the buck with this existing opportunity. We identified 3 core levers that we would like to guide you through that have the biggest impact on your recruiting success. The first one, the definition of the talent pool, is, in my opinion, the most powerful one, and we'll spend most time here. And what I want to show you with regards to the talent pool is how a little bit of mind changing and redefinition of hiring criteria can significantly enlarge your talent pool where you can hunt for top tech talents. So normally whenever you hire top tech talents, certain things are given, salary ranges are given, tech stack is given, but there are 3 dimensions that are somehow open for discussion. Starting with the blue line here, dimension number 1 is the location. Do the guys need to work on site, or is it fine if we relocate people, or is it even fine if we have people working fully remotely? The other dimension is the green line here, the experience level. Junior, mid-level, senior. Most of the companies associate only years of working experience with this, but actually you should look at the tech skills. So the more skilled the people are, the more senior they should be in this dimension. And then lastly, we have the contract dimension. Do you look for perm guys, freelancers, or even temp workers? And traditionally, talent pools are super small, super narrow, because most of the companies, they look for guys who can work on site, maybe not all the days. Thanks to COVID, it's changing. They can work from home 1 or 2 days a week, but they should live close to the office somehow. Traditionally, most of the companies look for senior guys, meaning I have no clue if the tech guys are good. I just write on my job description more than 5 years of working experience. Then I'm on the safe side. And then lastly, freelancing, temp work, that's too exotic for me. I don't know if I can do this. Let's only hire permanent. And with this talent pool, we're in a limited set of candidates that are available. What we want to do is we want to quantify how this pool is getting larger the more we change those dimensions. So to start off, we use technology that we built at Expertlead. We have a tool that we call the Supply Booster. The Supply Booster is doing the following. It's checking 50, 60 million developer profiles on GitHub, GitLab, Stack Overflow, and the like, and it ranks the code quality by these guys. So the stronger the code that has been published online, the higher the ranking in our own tools. So our recruiters at Expertlead use this tool, and if you would, in this case, an exemplary search, look for a Java developer in Wolfsburg and the surrounding area, Bielefeld, Hannover, and the like, you would only find 25 suitable results. Permanent, close to Wolfsburg, and more than 5 years of working experience. So if we would change a little bit the mindset, and if we would go, for instance, from senior profiles to mid-level profiles, accepting guys with also more than 3 years of working experience. In brackets, we need to test them. We need to see, are they fitting to the job? But let's just not look on the years of working experience. Let's assume a 3 years working experienced person has the right skill set as long as we test it. And if we consider this talent pool, we are enlarging our talent pool by 3x. So in our exemplary search, we find 79 suitable Java developers in the same area. 3 years of working experience. No major change. The only thing you need to change in your organization is to implement a testing facility to really make sure that this guy with 3 years of working experience has the right skill set. If you go one step further, and if you consider not only guys in the Wolfsburg area, but if you consider guys within Europe that you can relocate, which is totally easy today, right? It costs a couple of €100 with an agency, they do all the job, and you have access to a huge talent pool. You have actually a huge factor. You can increase your talent pool by 5,000x. With the same search, Java developers, people who are willing to relocate, 3 years working experience within Europe, we have 400,000 results where you can fish in. 5,000 times larger talent pool. And last but not least, if you would also rethink a little bit, Maybe perm is not always the right solution. Maybe freelancers are the right experts that I need for a given project. Maybe these are the guys who have this experience level that I don't find within my permanent employees. And if you would consider freelancers in your hiring applications, the talent pool is not growing significantly. It grows by 10% only. Yeah? So we would have 450,000 results. However, what is changing drastically is the time to hire. If you remember on the beginning, hiring a software developer takes 180 days. A freelancer can work in 1 or 2 days. Yeah? So basically, the guys being on site increases by the factor 90x. Yeah? And if you just compare these figures, and this is just the start, I mean, you have even more levels to expand. You can work fully remotely. You can even consider junior guys. But if you just do these very basic steps, you have the chance to enlarge your talent pool by 15,000x without a major change. You just need to implement the testing to work with mid-level guys, and you need to be able to relocate guys, which means spending on average 500 to 600 euros. Nothing more. And as a nice side effect, you have 90 times faster guys being on site and working on your products. And these numbers are super abstract. That's why someone in my team looked for a nice illustration. That's basically a difference of 15,000x. Yeah? So a talent pool on the bottom right corner of a bathtub, or a 15 times enlarged talent pool with the size of an Olympic swimming pool. Yeah? And what you, of course, want to do in the hiring, by just changing a little bit your hiring criteria, you want to fish in this big Olympic pool, not in a small bathtub. That's the part about the talent pool. Yeah? 2 other things that we would like to recommend how to adjust your strategies is active sourcing, candidate experience. Active sourcing should be a common standard. Yeah? Active sourcing is the practice of reaching out to candidates, right? Proactively writing those candidates and ask them if they're interested to join your company. It's a difference from posting job ads and praying that someone applies. It's active sourcing. Yeah? Shockingly, most companies are not really using this setup. Yeah? Shockingly, only 40% of companies put a high importance on active sourcing, which I don't understand, because this posting job ads and praying that someone is applying is not working. A, not enough people will apply, and B, the guys who are applying, they are not the top tech talents. Yeah? If your company is not Google, Facebook, or Amazon, chances that the top tech talent will apply are rather, they're zero, let's face it. Yeah? So you need to do active sourcing. You need to get in contact with those guys that are A, as we've seen in the first part, on the market now because they've been laid off, or B, considering to change because they're part of this great resignation and people wanting to quit and find a new challenge. Active sourcing is not rocket science. Yeah? You have the usual platforms that most of the companies use, LinkedIn and whatnot. However, what we strongly recommend, and that's how we do active sourcing only, use the developer communities. Yeah? Use GitHub, use Kaggle, use Stack Overflow. As you can see on the left-hand side here, only 7% of companies are actually using those developer communities, which I don't understand, because these are the places where the top talents are available, and these are the places where no other recruiters are hunting for them. And it's worth it. Yeah? If you compare the usual inbound application setup versus this active sourcing setup, if you just compare the hiring funnel logic, you see 6 times higher chance to secure a candidate through active sourcing versus its usual inbound applications. Good. Last but not least, few minutes on the candidate experience. Hopefully we've seen that it's rather easy to increase the talent pool, which is the first step. If you use active sourcing, you can get in contact with these guys. But if you don't nail the candidate experience, all the previous efforts are gone, because you lose the talents along the way. Because if you talk to talents, it gets visual that 69% of the talents would never start working for a company if the recruiting process provided a poor candidate experience. And it's not stopping here. Developers are well connected, developer communities, and 72% of these guys, they would spread a negative candidate experience with their peers. Yeah? So the chances to hire those peers are then, after a poor candidate experience, also at 0. What people hate most in the recruiting process from the developers is that they're being targeted with the wrong job posts. Yeah? So front-end developers being asked to join a back-end developer role. During the process, very seldomly they get feedback. And most of the times, companies are not doing a technical interview, or if they're doing a technical interview, it's an irrelevant one, because again, they're asking for a different technology that this guy is supposed to have. So our recommendation on the candidate experience is to really make sure that you start tracking it. Yeah, it's super easy, just one automated email after every recruiting effort to the candidates. How satisfied have you been? Learn from this. Show those applicants that you understand tech. let them do from day one a coding assignment, a live coding exercise. A top talent in tech is not, he doesn't want to show how he can communicate. He doesn't want to show small talk. He doesn't want to show a great CV. He just wants to show how he can code. Yeah? And that's what you need to show those talents. You understand tech and you understand how important it is that this candidate can code. And then last but not least, super important, provide feedback. These guys, they want to learn. They hate recruiting. If they do recruiting, it's a high time invest, and the minimum we should do is pay it back with meaningful feedback. Our data shows that if you have a positive candidate experience, meaning an NPS score higher than 30, the offer acceptance rate actually increases by 36%. To wrap it up, hopefully you guys have seen that there's a huge opportunity at the moment. Yeah, so we're having this war for tech talents. We're having a change in the market because much more talent is coming to the market from the tech market downturn. We have the great resignation where many people are considering to switch jobs. And this is a huge opportunity. And by just working on these three most important pillars in your recruiting strategy, maximizing talent pools, fostering active sourcing, and really doubling down on candidate experience, you set yourself up for success to attract those top talents in the long run. Thanks a lot for listening. If you have more questions, if you need a partner to do the testing, if you need a partner for the active sourcing, get in contact with us. We have a booth downstairs. Our team is happy to follow up here with you guys. And thanks for listening.